Hello everyone, it's Jesse Bergman again, just back here with you today. In this video we're going to teach you how to set up your first game of Battle for Sularia, what you're going to need for that, and basically get you in a position to start playing the game right away. So to start the game, we need to bring a deck of 60 cards, and it can be not worth more than 90 points in the deck construction system. The starter decks that we've built and are on our website at sularia.com/rules are all within the limits of the 90-point system and a great starting place for players to learn the game. Alright, so once we get to the table, we'll need a friend, and that friend will choose a faction, and we'll choose a faction, so between the Jotun or the Scythian. We'll shuffle those decks up, because they're not shuffled when they come from the factory. They're kind of shuffled, but they're definitely in need of a little help. And once we get the deck shuffled up, which I've done a few times off camera before we got here, we're going to go ahead and then roll for what's called initiative. So I would roll some dice. We could determine in any random method you want. If you want to play rock, paper, scissors, you want to look at who's got the most cash in their wallet, you want to determine who won the last game played, whatever it may be, that's how we can determine initiative. In this case, I rolled 8, and let's assume that I beat you in the roll and I actually won the roll for initiative. I would now have the choice of either being the initiative or off-initiative player. I'm going to choose to be the initiative player, and what that does for me is it gives me a half a step ahead of you every single turn. However, the downside to that is if I can eliminate you, take your health from 25 to 0, I haven't won the game yet. If you can do more damage back on a counterattack on your final turn, then you would actually win the game, even though we both technically die on the battlefield today. Now, to start the game, I'm going to shuffle the deck, and I'm going to place it into the play deck area. Any place can be a play deck area. We have a handy-dandy little play zone mapped out. You can download these from BGG in the near future here, as well as you've got the ability to buy these play mats right from our website. We have ones with full art and still have the zones. Whatever you'd like. However, these are not necessary to play the game. They're just a nice, helpful tool. Okay. So we've gone ahead and shuffled our deck. I've won initiative. I'm declared as the initiative player. I'm going to use a piece of paper to track my health. This could be done through dice. It could be done through anything you really want to use to track 25 health. It's just a way for you to know what your health is and what your opponent, for your opponent to know what your health is. So I've wrote 25 down on my handy dandy health tracker pad. I'll set that to the side for now. I've got a few dice. I've brought those into the game for the purposes of tracking modifiers, anything that's going on the game board, just to help assist in seeing what's happening. And then for your first few games, I would definitely recommend keeping your basic rules guide handy. It's going to give you quick reference to things like keyword abilities, areas of the play zone, as well as probably the most valuable part is this quick reference chart. Once we have everything set up, that's all we need to set up. Your opponent would need the same thing, some dice, something to track health, and maybe a quick reference chart, or you guys can share the quick reference chart. We'll then draw 7 cards to our opening hand. Alright, now, the first thing I look for in an opening hand is I look for sights, and sights have that purple influence symbol on them. If you remember from the last video here, we talked about that, but there's that's on the quick reference chart as well. It's that purple influence. We want to have 2 or more sights under a cost of 4 in our opening hand. If we don't have that, then unfortunately we're not really in a very good position because we're not entering the battlefield and we don't have anything to defend ourselves, and so we can't play tactics or condition cards, we can't put out units. It's really just goes downhill for us. So in this case, I have 0 sights in my opening hand, so I'm going to go ahead and take the deck, shuffle it back up, put all 7 cards back into the deck as well, and I'll try to draw a new hand of 7 and see if we do get something a little better. I had some pretty good cards there, but unfortunately without the sights to support it, which are the backbone of everything we do, I'm just not in a position to execute any sort of dominance on the battlefield over my opponent, and I'll probably lose the game. However, we only get 1 mulligan per turn, so we definitely want to make sure, or per game, excuse me, we definitely want to make sure that our mulligan is necessary. I don't encourage you, if you have the 2 sights under a cost of 4 and some of the other cards aren't there, I don't encourage many players to mulligan at that point. But as you learn the game a little bit more and more, and you become more familiar with what your faction can and can't do, you'll start learning what are good opening hands and what are okay opening hands and what are just bad opening hands. In the first couple of games, I would not worry too much about that. I would worry more just on making sure you get a couple of sites that are under a cost of 4. So we'll start again. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7 cards because I get to keep all 7 cards on the mulligan as well. And I'll look here again and see if we got some sites. All right, we did get a site. I didn't get the 2 sites that I would love to have. However, I did get a site, which is definitely going to put up at least a frontline defense. And in theory, we'll be able to draw into the other sites that we need to go ahead and be competitive in this game. So that pretty much covers the setup and the initial setup of the game and the initial hand drawing and preparing for the first game. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to comment below, or please send me a note through BGG, or you can send us a question through Twitter. Whatever your preferred method is, we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thanks so much. In the next video, we'll start going through the steps of the turn, starting with the influence phase. Thanks, guys.